how to forgive someone and why isn't it happening? Is that what you're thinking? Um, so I have learned a couple of things about forgiveness in the past year or even less, right? And I'll share it with you today. There are actually three aspects to forgiveness. I initially thought there was two, but there's three, okay? When we're trying to forgive someone who hurt us, I'm not talking about physical abuse or severe verbal abuse or any type of abuse, just general hurt, maybe unintentional or even intentional. When we're trying to forgive someone, the first aspect is to first forgive ourselves. Because when we have let someone hurt us, some part of us is thinking, how could I have let that happen? Why was I so stupid? Why did I let this happen? Why was I like this? Couldn't I defend myself? Etc. But to go back in that moment, if it's a situation, or if it's a person, even if it's many situations, if there's still one that is hurting you, then go back in that situation, tell yourself that, okay, with what I knew back then and what I was doing and what I had given the situation, I did the best I could. That is called self-compassion. Okay, you will feel hurt, but just tell yourself, I did the best I could. I got hurt. It's fine. I forgive myself. The second aspect of forgiveness is to forgive the other person. And if we will try to tell ourselves that the person should change, they shouldn't have done this, and we'll blame them, and we'll find excuses that we were better, etc., we will never get there. If our goal is peace and forgiveness, we will never get there. The way to forgive, and I have read this in Om Swami's post, is to be hurt one last time. So what you do is you have to go back in that one moment of hurt, that situation that hurt you. And if you think about it now, you'll see that it still hurts, okay? You still feel bad and you still feel hurt and restless. You don't feel at peace. When you go back in that moment and you tell yourself, okay, you focus on the other person, put yourself in their shoes, and tell yourself that, wait a minute, they were only doing the best they knew and the best they could. Because at the end of the day, we are all prisoners to our habits, the way we are. Think about it. Have you ever gotten so angry but you didn't realize that you were getting angry? You didn't want to get angry, but you were still angry. You were just doing the best you could. You couldn't stop it. Similarly, a lot of us were doing so much, but we don't have a control on ourselves. So that person, when they hurt you or whatever behavior they had, they were just doing the best they could. Once we accept this, it's hard to accept. Once we accept this, we are practicing compassion. So we are putting ourselves in their shoes, given their childhood, their behavior, the surrounding, the conditioning, how they have been treated. They are doing the best they can, okay? If we tell ourselves this, then we can forgive the other person better. Doesn't mean we go and say sorry or we go and love them again. We could love them again, but don't go. You have to still protect yourself by changing based on what you have learned. And the third thing is time. You cannot forgive overnight. You need to give yourself time and just let it be. Just try to remind yourself to practice compassion, to put yourself back in your own shoes back then and put yourself in the other person's shoes and just tell yourself, what could they have done? What am I expecting of others? Others will not change. So the three aspects of forgiveness. First is forgive yourself for whatever you've been put through or you've let yourself be put through. Secondly, forgive the other person for they only did the best they knew with what they had and what they learned. And third, give yourself time. It's only time that will help you move on and forgive. And then you'll feel at peace. How do you know that you have forgiven someone? If you think back at that person or that situation and you do not feel hurt, you do not feel restless, you do not feel hate, resentment, then you know you've forgiven that person. Doesn't mean you love them, but you can still feel at peace. This was a bit long. I apologize, but I hope it was somewhat useful. Until then, keep forgiving and smiling.